#1 interview platform in UK music right now. We are not for the radio. Myself, Viz. We've got Posty in the house. We've got Chams in the house. So the time has finally come. The most requested interview of our generation, of the last decade.
I can't believe it. He's actually here.
Mad. He's here. He's here.
Man.
I understand why you ain't been here. The bars have been doing the talking. But we're happy to have you here. We've got Chip in the building.
Love.
You know what's funny? I'm kind of happy that we kind of get our lives back now. You know, like, even on my personal Instagram, when I upload a picture of my crepe or something, someone's like, where's Chip's NFTR? Like,
it's like nothing matters anymore.
Everywhere, you know what I mean? So we're glad you're here.
I've seen myself as well.
You got a lot of acts saying, get on for the radio.
Yeah, you know what, to be honest, from the very, very first one, you get me, I've paid attention to all the NFTRs. I like the show. I think you like doing some.
You've mentioned us a couple of times in a couple of bars as well.
Yeah.
All right.
And what's made you wait?
What made me wait was I just felt like for what the platform represents, I think is sick, but I just didn't feel ready, man. I just felt like I had more musical legs in me to deliver in the course that everyone's seen before I start sitting down and talking. Cause I just feel that like a lot of people are doing just like a lot of talking, but your music can do the talking. I just feel like even after I say everything that I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna go home and think, shit man, but I could have made a tune. But that's just how I approach music now at this age, covered in tat, smoke, weed, drink,
So what made you think this is the right time? We've all reached out, everyone on this table has reached out a couple of times. What made you think this is the time actually? I don't mind having a chat with Viz, Posty and Chams.
Not because I feel I've got anything to explain. Like anything you've seen happen, I was on. Like just had no explanations, like 0% talking. Like I'm about bars, innit? Like,
sure.
But I felt that for like myself and my people close to me that like, understand like the mind process behind the guy that's been doing everything I've been doing in like 5 to 10 years, it would be fun to watch back and see like, rah, man, like openly, because obviously we know we keep a tight unit, small, we don't really mix too much and we share our ideas and thoughts and then I execute, you know, as the MC, but I just thought like it would be good to watch from a public perspective, like after I've done bars, like is it fair to say I've done some bars, some barring?
Yeah, a little bit here and
you
there.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just thought like it was the right time now for a fantasy, you know, because new fans, old fans, just for everyone to see like what's the mind like behind that guy.
So talk us through it. I mean, you've had a long span career. I guess it's best to start at the beginning. Is that fair to say?
You've been in the game obviously over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, you must be legendary status by now. You've dedicated a lot of years to the art form and stuff like that. Talk us through. Let me talk about the first time I heard Chip. Anyway, I was on Wiley's MySpace back in the day, and I just heard some scroky guy just say, "I'm your favorite MC's little sister's favorite MC." I was like, "What the fuck? Who's this guy?" You know what I'm trying to say? It was like a different. I think like Grams had like different stages in relations to MC, like Dizzy MCs on Gram, different to Kano MCs on Gram or whatever. And when I heard you, that was like a different way of spinning on Gram. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I kind of took notice from you straight away. Obviously, you kind of got with Always Recordings, then later Wiley. Could you talk us through the stage of like
that initial
where it
part
all started for you?
It all started for me, if I'm honest, like I recall probably there's a few people that I would say played a part in like those 14 to 15 years. By like 15, 16, BBC were like contacting my school and stuff. But those initial years...
Can I just say, I called you... The first time I called you, you was in school actually.
To
come up and do a freestyle, and you came up with your backpack.
That's memories. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Even when I think on one time Target, it was coming to my school, Glazemore in Tottenham, and he was like, obviously everyone in my school knows like I'm a cold spitter. Like, man was clashing year 11s from early. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So then he was in the plate like, Roll D's come to the school, and obviously like we're just thinking, bro, like Roll D comes to school in Tottenham, like, mad, you get me? But I've seen Target and a few others come, and then he was like, I was looking at him and he looked at me. And I said, I'm going to be on your show soon. And then I think it was like a few weeks later, it was his show. I was on a brother called Random Impulse that had a studio down in Finsbury Park that I was introduced to through my cousins, and a brother called Dimples that had like a verse on Private Caller. I don't know if you remember. I'm tired of it all. I'm tired of the fools and the fakes going on like they was born. Yeah, him anyway. So from them stages there was when I first, like, you get me, would just use my paper round money, save up, go studio. You got flipping £20 for an hour, but you got to make like all like 3 dubs like fast. So being able to produce music like rapidly was something that I was trained to do from early. But then Wiley, one day I was in like maths or something. I can't remember, was it maths, Mr. Jocker's class? But Semi had a pattern with like some of my teachers, like, to let me answer my phone to like handle business. You get what I mean? So I remember getting a call and it's like, yeah, man, it's Wiley. And I was like, oh, whatever, man, just hanged up. Like, didn't think it was him. But then I got a text like, nah, man, like, I've got your number from Maniac. Obviously, the producer, we just dropped the new tune for the Kidulthood film. I was like, nah, man, it's Will. Then he was like, yo, I think you're sick, like, rare. Let's link up. Then one day I just got on a train, I think it was to Limehouse. Road Deep had a studio in Limehouse.
Yeah.
But them times, like, being a kid from North and getting, like, acceptance. Let's be real, it was acceptance. Like, any MC lying, don't lie, man. The East had this, bruv. And I was gassed, innit? So I went, and then I went to the studio. And one thing I remember is that it was all smoking weed and stuff. And I just thought, like, why, man? Like, this is mad. But then while he was there, we linked up. Then shortly after, he was... But I do remember, like, he just kept going on about Ice Kid. Like, Ice Kid. I was thinking, like, I knew about Ice Kid, obviously, because him and, like, Criminal hit TV before me. So I used to think, like, rah, am I doomed to, like, rah.
Is this before you clashed Criminal at DJ Impact's birthday set?
On Axe FM?
Yeah.
This is after.
Yeah,
Okay, do you get? So you know real groundwork. Thanks for even bringing that up. Do you get what I'm saying? That was a
madness.
That was a proper clash still. I remember like
that was
like MSN days. You get what I'm saying? It was like Criminal was the, if you ask me, of like 90s babies, the top MC in East London. And I can even feel, if I'm honest, like those days I feel what he had over me was his voice. Like his voice as a spitter was just like 10 times more angry, 10 times more aggressive, 10 times deeper. But now, I know that, like, when I look back, I think Semi, like, even Ice Kid, like, he had, like, a deeper voice, but it just weren't as croaky as mine. But all them lot used to smoke weed from them times. Okay. So now I'm a bit older, I understand, like, maybe it was a weed tone they had going on, you get me? But, yeah, those times there. So then we linked up, me, Wiley, Ice, and then, yeah, it was vibes. And I can't remember the first place we went, but I just remember the night we was going to Radio 1 to do that freestyle, like, just didn't really know what Radio 1 was. It was just like another radio station to show, innit? Like, just arguing with Ice Kid in the car about who's going first. You get me? And then something, I can't remember what happened. I just thought, like, fuck this, man, I'll go first, innit? And I just went first, and I think that was like the moment, because I was doing shows and stuff and getting recognition, and my MySpace was popping. I didn't really have no worries in the world, but London transport the next day after that was different. That's what that did, and it was just completely different. And then yeah, from doing my own thing, my first 2 mixtapes I had Whatever the Weather Volume 1. That was in like Uptown Records, you know, your go-to sale or return receipts. Big up everyone that knows about those from those areas. You get me, getting on the train. Shout out to my brother Sin in the building. You get me, all the rappers from North that showed me about like having a body of work to represent you. So I was a few tapes up before I met anyone, before I met Wiley, before I met Always Recordings. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm used to the circuit, I'm running around, but then back to this point, you wanted the whole picture. Yeah, from that point there, the Westwood Freestyle, that was around the times that I got introduced to Always Recordings.
Okay,
yeah.
So you actually met Wiley before you met Always Recordings?
Yeah, confirmed,
All right, cool.
confirmed.
Before we jump onto that...
Through Frisco.
Yeah, before we jump into that chapter, so when you did that, explain to me quickly your relationship with Ice Kid at that age, because as like a spectator, like obviously watching the game, like I knew you and Ice Kid was sick. Even Maverick was proper cold.
Yeah, Maverick was hard as well. Shout out to Maverick.
Or whatever. And like Wiley had the whole SKB recording thing going on.
Yeah.
And he made like Ice Kid CEO and not himself, but you was in. What did that affect you lot's relationship?
To be honest, I think Wiley probably prefers Ice Kid as an MC to me, but that doesn't stop me doing my thing. I just always thought like, okay, I just felt just like privileged to even have the opportunity to spit with people that I know were doing more than me at the time. Like, you gotta remember when Ice Kid had that My Youth verse, since I'm busting out my youth, your flows have now become mine. You gotta remember, like, man, are like 14 years old writing lyrics like that. Like, even if you recite that bar now, like, dude's definitely ahead of his time.
Relevant.
Like, all of us were ahead of our time. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, I can spit a verse from those days now, like, and you would think raw. So I just used to think I'm blessed to just be privileged enough to like MC with people that are on telly and that.
So it never really affected your relationship?
Not one bit. Like, we was cool. Like, me and Ice was cool. It was just when spitters were around those days, when MCs were around each other, it was just like the average thing was like you would be in the room with a lot of cold MCs, and you just had to be ready to go at any given time. It was more whether you was outside on the curb, outside a record shop, or at a video shoot and people have come to cameo for you. It was like a thing to actually like slap a beat on, man, like see who's really got this, like kind of vibe. And that energy was the energy that got me into music in the first place.
And obviously, when you were doing this, there wasn't like a huge, like now everybody is an MC. You know, there wasn't a huge amount of people getting recognition for music and being able to represent, you know, themselves via music. How overwhelming was that for a 14, 15-year-old just trying to, you know?
Yeah, it was like I can't remember. Like, it was one bus ride, like. Bus rides was where I noticed what was going on, because there was points where like the whole Haringey schools would have like my stuff on their phones, and I'd be on the bus like listening to conversations about me, but I'm hooded up, like I'm just incognito and saying, right, I heard he's short, I heard he's chubby, I heard he's dark skin. I'm listening to the bus busting up, like them times there, like man was shutting down MSN, you get me, just sending my tunes out to the gal them, they'll forward them on, you get what I'm saying? So the only reason why it wasn't overwhelming for me is because I could see examples in front of me of people that at the time I thought were doing better than me. So it was like, just work hard, like try not to believe it too much.
So what was difficult about it though? Because I'll be honest, like what you went through, like when I say like went through, I mean the success that you had at an early age, I don't think I could have done it at that time. Do you get what I mean? Like a lot of people, especially like just being from ends, and a lot of people relate to you and like, he's the one that's gone. At such a young age.
At that point where it was like, people talking like, raw, Chip's gone. Bruv, it was hard, man. Like, not hard as in hard to do what I was doing. Yo, I'm just a hard-working brother. Like, give me 24 hours in a day. I'm just trying to maximize the most hours out of that day. Like, so at the time, what was easy for me is that I had a split focus. Like, I was always more focused on my education because that meant more to my pops. Like, just get an education. Like, I didn't get one, so get one. Like, you know the ones. That was always more important to him. So only until I started to realize, like, raw, I'm actually getting bread here. Like, do you know what I mean? Which was very young. Like, I was in school with a bag in my rucksack from running around, spitting, collecting £250 here, £250 there. Like, man just always had an MO to go and get it. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So it never used to, like, jar me too tough.
Okay. Let's talk about the Always Recordings chapter and the album that proceeded after that.
Yeah.
So Frisco introduces you to Bath.
Obviously,
we had Bath here.
I saw.
He had his recollection of events. So we kind of know that story. Would you say that that's basically what happened in his words, or in your words? How did you guys work together, and how did that first album come together?
Before you get into that though, I've got to say, everyone was looking at that situation as like a heroic situation. Do you get what I mean? Like a young guy like yourself, from the ends, super talented, and another guy on the management side, also from the ends. Do you know what I mean? Business acumen or sensibilities. Do you know what I mean? You both putting your money in independently and absolutely killing it. I think a lot of people looked at that situation like, this is sick. But anyway, I just want to say that's how it was looked at
cool.
from the outside.
And it was sick. And I wouldn't deny, like, the main thing I would say, even after seeing, like, his interview, the most important thing to me with Always Recordings is that I can only speak for myself. We did some amazing things together. Just like any other people that you go into business with or work with over a long period of time, especially me meeting the man them as a child, I was only gonna grow and change, and I couldn't predict who I was gonna grow up into. But it just got to a point in life. Like I said, my memories with Always Recordings is flipping, starting from the block, GMTV, Summertime Ball, spinning MCs if we had to. The classes that I've had in that studio were legendary. I wouldn't even name MCs, but one time I swang 2 man. It was meant to be me and Lazy against 2 other spitters, and you know Lazy, boy, and I was like, and he was a bit older than me at the time, and I was like, no, it's cool, I got this. You get me? Like, so just the whole course, just like every other like people that get into business, there's ups and downs and highs and lows, but it just got to a point where the young man that I've become today, it was probably best for both of us that we just went our separate ways business-wise.
We see that in music every day. Not everything lasts forever.
So how did that first album come about? How did that first deal come about? Obviously, you dropped Who Are You?
Yeah. So shouts out to the Always Recordings team. It was like, I just remember one time, it was like TGI's. They took me. And let me make sure I say the key events that are key to the music, because that's all I really give a shit about. It was just like, yo, man, boom, like, real shit. It was like, okay, you're doing your thing. Like, you're going and you're going through, boom, boom, boom. I'm not gonna play like...
That's exactly how Bath talks as well.
Yeah, like, boom, 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 man, you get me? Like, but I wanna, like, I'm on it, man, like, let's go. Like, you've got the talent, got the bank. I will not go into conversations about where the bank came from, so don't fucking ask me. I don't do that. You get me? So then, yeah, like, within... Cool. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, I'm about the music. So anyway, I was like, yo, let's go, you get me? So everything just happened so quick. You see, when you're saying like, oh, you was young, it was like, yo, I was at college, after college, man, he'll pick me up, we'll go do shows. We might be driving back literally the night of me making my next lesson the next morning. Sometimes I might ring my teacher like, miss, sorry, man, it's mad. But they would understand because they just knew that I was academically smart enough to still do what they wanted me to do in the college as someone.
Because you did still really excel.
Yeah, I did good in my education. I'm happy I did as well. But yeah, so by the time you've seen like Fire Alive, like that was just like videos shot in my college, like bangers. Who Are You? That one was a bit more money, like 2 bags or something like at the time, you know what I mean? Shouts to Vertex. And also I would say about Always Recordings, the operation was not just me and Bath. The operation was me, Vertex played a key part in the visuals. There was a girl there called Mariam at the time that helped with a lot. Shouts to CJ, she helped with so much. James Barber, who's now a director, he was also part of, so it was like a proper studio graphics. You could walk into there as like a young brother from the streets trying to do music and get the packages that you need to represent yourself as an artist. So by the time I was moving from before I met everyone. Yeah. So we moved more, and then by the time it got to Sony, I signed a deal.
Walking into the label, obviously you were really young. Bass, you know, he's not from a corporate background.
Yeah.
So kind of walking in there together, like, what were you lot anticipating? You lot must have had some conversation amongst yourself. Like, were you nervous? Were you sure about yourself because you was popping?
I've always been like a sure about myself human from as long as I can remember, like from primary school or way back. The time when I can look back and identify that I was a bit unsure about myself, I have to question like the energies I was putting myself around. Do you get what I mean? But I would say we wasn't really phased like that. It was just more like, yo, like we're on a roll and it's rolling. And I remember the first deal someone offered me was like 70 bags or something. And this cringe, I hate even talking figures and stuff like that on the internet. I'm not that kind of human being.
But I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary for people to do comparisons. Some people are going in there and they're signing deals and they don't know what they're looking for. So it is important.
I think on the basis that I could speak, important. On the basis that I'm not gonna say it's not important. I'm gonna say I don't think it's important for me to speak about on here, because I always have the perspective of like, I know where I'm from and I know who's listening, innit? So I'm not even trying to put the attention of money that people could be getting from record deals onto other artists, because man's really from it. It's not a kind of thing I would want to do, but for myself I can, because I'm speaking back. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm telling you examples of how it went. So it was like, if someone offered me something like 70 bags, like the man will be like, fuck that, man, we can give you that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So it was all like, nah. Then they started offering a bit more, and in the end, man took a deal. But man charted before I took a deal. Like Chip Diddy Chip went 21. That wasn't...
Oh, was that independent?
That was independent, yeah. And then even Diamond Rings, at the point when we did that song with Emily Sande, we was full steam. We're the ones that was Vertex again with the video. The whole operation of the song, creating the song, putting the song together was done before I signed a deal with Sony. By the time the deal was done, it looked like a record that was put out by Sony.
Can I just say, that time, not many people were putting out radio songs like that and seeing the success from where you're from.
Who would you say it was?
You and Tinchy.
No, Tinchy was...
Was that after?
Tinchy was before me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you
and End-Ups.
You, Tinchy and End-Ups, yeah. So was that your thinking? Like, talk to me about that process where, obviously, you got League of My Own out, you've got all of this, and you got the Westwood freestyle, you got my freestyle, which is better, but it went under the radar. Anyway. Yeah. So you got all this now, it's online still.
Yeah.
You was in school, you came up backpack, shelled.
When you're part of what's going on and breaking down barriers, not everybody's gonna know what's happening at the time. Do you know what I mean?
It's hard.
And everybody's broken, not everybody, but some people have broken down barriers. You're one of them. That's why I asked you the question in the first place. Yeah. Because I wanted to know whether it was your decision to do that, because at the time, everybody would have done it. Well, most people
don't get me wrong.
They couldn't do it.
People tried it as well.
The team, like, do you know what I mean? Me and the team, like, you know them ones. Like I said, from the example of like, you gotta consider Chip Diddy Chip was no label, so it must have been what we wanted to do. I was in my school and stuff, like, yo, man, like, we're speaking to people like Sway at the time. That Sway, big up Sway. You get me? He Mobos, these things, you know what I mean? When it's like, when you see things are possible, like, raw, being a young youth in North London, Sway's won a Mobo. Sway, how did you do that? Sway, how's the industry work? Boy, this is how it works, man. Obviously, you got the bars, rare, but there's a thing called the playlist where basically XYZ, and if you can catch, you know, like, okay, yeah, I got bars, rare, but, you know, Little Derek's doing okay, Little Derek's doing fine, like, catchy, rare, then this happens, then that happens, and that could lead to rare. So Sway was definitely like a blueprint for, like, in terms of what you could do if you know, experiment with music. I'd say experiment with music.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say dumbed it.
All right,
cool. So listen, so the album's out, it's shot in.
I Am Chipmunk,
I Am Chipmunk. It's selling beyond expectations. I think, how much did he do in the end? I've heard it's about 250,000 sales. Or am I wrong? Something in the region.
I haven't checked, but it's shipped platinum. But
it's platinum, yeah?
It's shipped platinum. I don't know if it's sold over 300k to date, but I do know that at the time when we stopped checking, it was like over 250.
What is shipped platinum? For those that don't know.
So you shipped out, they shipped out a platinum amount.
No, I didn't know, just for the whole.
Okay.
Yeah. So why didn't you tell them?
Because I don't know. Go on.
So, yeah, Viz might explain better than me.
The label shipped out a platinum amount of records, but maybe not every single last piece
they
of them
they only ship on expectation as to what you're gonna sell.
Okay,
they probably did.
Okay, that makes sense. So obviously, at that time, your life's changed. You're a young man. You were probably about 17, 18.
I wouldn't even. where I'm at now in life, I would say I thought I was a young man then. I was deluded.
Exactly. This is what I want to come to. And obviously this is not attack. I just want to know. So like as like a fan or whatever watching the game before I kind of got into it, a lot of people might have considered you a little bit arrogant or a little bit like too flashy or too sure of yourself or all these things. And I feel like obviously these things come with growing up anyway. We all kind of maybe go through that kind of stage growing up anyway, but just with less money. But obviously because you're growing up in the public eye, innit? Like,
I think what's been hard for me is that I know that anyone that gets close enough to me, you know that I'm one of the most like blessed people. Like no jokes aside, like I've met all different kinds of people. Like I walk in your house, I wipe my feet, I take my shoes off, like I'll wash the dishes. Like I'm one of those guys, like very mannerful, like very from yard setting. So it was like at a time, for instance, whereas I know in the process of me like making my money, like I've just worked hard the whole time. Like I haven't plotted on you or schemed on you or done a dirt then had to repent. Like all I've done is work hard. So when I was younger, bruv, if I wanted to buy a 10-bag chain or a rollie or why not? Like I've worked hard. Like I didn't do nothing wrong. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I had all the examples of wrongness and badness like in front of me and chose not to do that. Chose to be an example for someone to say, you know what? Maybe I don't have to be a real madman or a goon to MC or to be who I want to be. Just be yourself. So as negative things started to happen to me, like getting stuck up, getting rushed, getting battered, I'm thinking like, bruv, like I'm getting mad in my head, like rotted, like why is this happening? Like this is mad, like I haven't done nothing to no one. Like, but as I got a bit older and started to soul search and travel on my own a bit more, and this is if you've been around from back in the days, you know like there was like Posty, I've come here today, he was like, bro, you with the gang, but it's like, bro, you could have. I'm saying like, yo, I'm with my god sister, I'm with my little cousin, I'm with my little sister, now I'm with my family, B. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when I look back, I can say like, bro, I had so much people just around me like all the time. Like there's certain answers that I needed from life that I just had to branch. But you're around, man could tell you this is happening because of this, that is happening because of that. And I'm young, I'm listening to my elders, you get what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to them, but you know what I'm saying? There was just certain answers in life that I had to go and get for myself. And when I started just traveling on my own and sitting under the sun for hours, no phone, I see these little things on Instagram like, right, take yourself away, travel, take no phone. Dude, I've been through them courses, you get me, and found that how light and love and God could send me back on my own path.
And do you feel that all these things played a part in you being perceived as being arrogant and too self-sure? Were you kind of just like tired of being a nice guy?
Let me no, not even tired of being a nice guy. I want to be a nice guy to the end. Like I'll defend myself if I have to, as you can see. But like, yo man, like if you don't understand, that like being my age, doing what I was doing, you see like now like everyone's got a pendant and that. Like bruv, do you know what man was like? Man was really like I said, I can look back now and me as a young man that has took time out and can look back at myself and say, raw, okay, this, that. It was like, I can only speak from the kind of environment that I'm coming from. I can't speak from everyone else's. Like, even to see a clean brother, like, go through and like, yo, he's got his own yard now. Yo, look at all them chains. It's like, yo, man's from a suffering community. Like, I look back at myself and I think at the time when it's like, say like I've been stuck up for a 10-bag piece or whatever, it's like, and I don't even want to talk about stuff like that because it opens up cans of worms that don't even need to open. But it's like, look back, okay, at the time I felt, why is this happening? It's making me angry. But now I think, bruv, like, you know what kind of community you're from. You understand the minds of people there. You've been forced to. Bruv, like, some people don't necessarily know where tomorrow's dinner's coming from. Why are you walking around in that kind of environment, regardless of if it's your own area or not, wearing a 10 grand chain? Like, you're wearing man's, do you know what I mean? It's like, just because your life's going somewhere, and it's sad that, and sometimes I have this conversation with new men that are coming into the game today, and they be like, nah, man, but I just work for my things. And it's sad to a point that life has made me think like that. Like, you can actually work hard for your things and still have to, like, you know, just consider the world you live in. But that level of consideration has brought me to a point where I can feel the difference with me and the people now. Like, I can feel it. Like, there's times I've stepped out on the stage and I thought, bro, this feels weird. Like, what the fuck is going on here? But from the kind of energy that I've been putting out and people seeing what I'm on and having man laugh at man wearing a Lessie or whatever, it makes man, you know what I mean? I'm trying to wake up the generation of youths as someone that has done only, you know, good things to make money in the process of doing what I'm doing, but make them feel, bruv, it's not like, yeah, it's nice when you can buy some things that you want, but at the same time, just consider the settings and the environment that you're coming from. I can't speak for everyone else, but Tottenham's mad.
So at that time where you was feeling like different pressures from left and right.
So it sounds made me laugh, just put some funny face, like, yeah.
Who was there for you, would you say? Like, musically, like, who was there for you?
Musically, do you know what's so funny, yeah? Even on a musical one, that's why I say, like, you know, maybe we might be here for a couple hours, you know, because, like, I'm feeling this right now. Like, I'm enjoying it, you get me? Like, I'm ready, like... Some people were there, yeah, at a time, yeah. It was like, for instance, I used to think, raw. I'll just say this one out loud, yeah. Like, I used to think, so solid been through the kind of things that I'm going through, like, real life shit. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And they, I can't remember where it was. It was one show, and I can't remember who it was from a So Solid. I was at a So Solid show, and I had to come out for them, and I was like mad down at the time, and it was like, are you alright, Chip? Like, you could see, like, and I was like, don't worry, man, when I come on stage, I just activate anyway. I went on stage, I just licked it down. Then I can't remember which one it was, yeah, and they just said to me, like, don't let what happened to us happen to you. You're way too talented. And there's been a few key moments like that, and you know what happened to So Solid, like, the agent shut them down, though.
What was the gap between the first album and the second album? And talk to us about
the radical
actual
change.
Yeah, the
You're
change.
not going in still. We're here. This is 2 hours. I'm seeing this. Alright, cool. Right. So, me, yeah, I just like to try different things, innit? Like, you get me? So, basically, yeah, and at any time stop me and say, I disagree. Yeah. At the point where I chose to do pop, there wasn't an MC from the 1990s at the time that could spin me at the art form of beats, bars, go.
What, at the time?
At the time.
Spin, but there was a few competitors.
I'm not saying there wasn't,
Yeah.
but I went at it with my competitors. What we gotta do? Bring up fuck radio, bring up this, bring up me on that curb. Like, what we gotta do? Like, I'm asking you, like, be honest. Like, at that point there, yeah, I was searching for something else. Like, it wasn't challenging anymore.
She was bored almost.
Yeah, like, do you get what I mean? Like, I've been on every train. I've been in every record shop with a sale or return receipt. Some of these spitters all now don't even have a project to represent who they are. It's crazy. I was 5-6 projects up way young. Do you get what I mean? So at that point there, I just needed something different, man. I just started trying some different things, for instance. So we agreeing, like, there wasn't... I'm not saying there wasn't MCs that couldn't give me a run for my money, but I'm saying I was tested and proven.
You did what you needed
on a
to
few
do.
different
Yeah,
fields.
yeah.
Even at a point where I've gone to Viz's thing, and I'm not... Viz, that's one of my maddest freestyles. Like, word for word. You see, like, how... For instance, even at the point where I was doing that, like, I'm from grime. I'm not supposed to be able to do that. That weren't no grime beat. Them put my life in my you get me? I rose from the dirt. I remember parts of the bar. Like, it was mad. Like, so at that point there, that's why that change happened. At the point of, for when you're listening to Radio 1 XYZ and you're doing this, after Chip Diddy Chip, after Diamond Rings, then Oopsie Daisy, then the repack and that single connecting where it was like, okay, now I've done this. One thing that, so going from I Am Chipmunk into transition, one thing that I always like foresaw, that was like, if I want to be an artist, it's like I found my love for music and MCing and spitting through grime. But if I want to be an artist, like, I'm going to have to know how to do more. So I just felt like it was coming towards the we did the champion single XYZ. So after this era, the first album, how we got into the second one, for instance, all the producers on that album were from the UK as well. Harmony, Dreddy, XYZ, and big up. I'm so happy I made that album because some of the songs still live on forever.
I could tell you, like,
now.
songs like Flying High are just like, it's so ahead of its time. Either that or People, it still did well, right? It did all right.
I would have more mentioned Champion or Every Gal, to be honest.
No, we were going to go
from
get
that
to
album.
Those are still big tunes.
Getting into that album, what it was, like I said, from now I've done grime, I'm feeling like, okay, what next? I've done pop, I'm feeling like, what next? Something that I always wanted to finesse my tech at was rap, because where I was from, like, rap was listening to, I grew up on grime and that, but listening to rap was also a serious thing. Like, I remember at the time, even when grime MCs were clashing, like, Wiley used to say to people, like, I just want to be Dipset, rare, but these times, like, man's a live fan of that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm saying, like, raw, you know what? I want to make a hip-hop album. That's what I, like, sonically and sound-wise, depending on all the other reasons on whether someone is hip-hop or not, sonic sound-wise, I would say Transition was more hip-hop album. Take away Every Gal, which was Bashman, and Champion, because it crossed over. Do you get what I mean? Like, sonically, Harmony's a hip-hop producer, like, Dreddy's a hip-hop producer. So I just felt like, okay, I want an album to represent me at that then. So I went for it, and I got the results that I did. And then after that, I still felt like, so for instance, with that album, okay, cool, I'm fucking with Chris Brown, Trey Songz, Movado, like people, I remember like being 15 on 16, telling someone, one day I'm gonna do a song with Chris Brown. And I'm saying, haha, yeah, right. And then now I'm 21 and I've done it. It's like, okay, this is mad.
So you did a song with Chris Brown, and it was at a really crazy stage of his career and yours, I think.
Yeah. I think the timing of everything that happened with that record was probably why it did. Some people feel it should have done better. Some people feel it done amazing. I think the song, I love the song. Like, every time I hear it, I remember everything to do with who I was around, the time, how it felt.
How did it happen? How did those collaborations happen? Because obviously...
Not through Sony.
We hadn't... Okay, so I think it was presumed that it was. How did it happen then?
That one happened, Harmony, my producer. Me, him and Eric Bellinger. You know what's funny, when we first wrote the song, I was like, man, this sounds like I'm moaning, man. Everyone always says I'm moaning too much, rare. And there was like 2 lines in the chorus that changed, that when they got changed, it just made it feel like uplifting rather than just, do you know what I mean? And it was you made me who I am from the words you said. And I might even get that tatted today, because that's what I feel like. Yeah, I'm a bit of a recluse now. Yeah, I don't really fuck with the industry now, but you made me who I am from the words you said. Do you get what I mean? So that whole energy of, you know, just people trying to bring you down all the time, and, you know, we just managed to pull a song out of it. So like I was saying, Harmony, we finished Eric Bellinger, who's now doing his own thing as an artist as well, was who I wrote the song with. And then we was like, let's... When I was listening back, like, right, can you imagine on this? Like, it was like, right, imagine if, like, this sounds like it's wrote for Chris Brown. Then H was like, oh, man, I know someone that's over there, rare. Let me get to them to see how they feel. Sent them the song, and Chris just fucking loved it. One day I was at my little pad that I had at the time in Cheshunt. Just got a phone call like, yo, man, like, man, love this shit, man. I was like, right, get on. And just remember another night getting sent back the vocals and just being like, fucking hell, bro, this is mad.
How did that feel? Did that feel real out of this world? Especially because not only have you got a Chris Brown feature, but you've got a Chris Brown feature where he's talking about what everybody wants to hear him talk about.
I think that's the power of music, man. I think sometimes you can hear a song that just demands an emotion out of you that you can't just give every day. And I think that song, when it happened, hit him in a way that he felt this was even probably parts of it stemming out from the UK first, and not, do you know what I mean, that he could just express.
But
how
for
he
you,
felt.
as receiving that, like, so your song's gone out, it's been received by his people, and then it's sent back, and you and your people are sitting down and you're listening to that song, and you're thinking, rah,
it's
like,
mad.
you know, like that feeling of, okay, this is gonna go, this is, you know, those feelings that people have when they get a special song. Like, what was that like for you?
Mad, like, just mad, like, because I always look at artists and try to just. Sometimes as an artist, people can do so much outside of their music that it makes you think about the stuff they've done outside of their music before you just consider their music. But for me, at the time, it was just like, yo, man, like, I didn't care. The funniest thing about that whole situation was the emails. Like, so imagine I've come back at the time, I'm gassed, I'm happy, it's an amazing song. Like, forget what's happened or what he's done, or like, I just love the song. I've come back to, and it's funny because he's on Drive US and I was on Drive UK. I've come back to flipping the label with the song and they're basically saying like, we can't put it out, like, because of the things that like Chris had done. Like, and I'm just thinking, bruv, this is mad. And then I saw some emails, I won't get into names of those agents right now, but basically saying like, right, if Chipmunk releases this record, I'm sorry, we just can't support him any further. And I thought, raw, after all them hours and time I've put into, you know, your situation, your station, you get me, like, raw, you do me like that, like.
Oh,
and,
I see.
And I thought, this is mad. I remember just ringing my manager, like, ringing back, like, no, fuck this, man, let's go with this, you get me. Then what happened was the record leaked. I think, to be honest, I think it was probably like Chris's camp at the time that leaked it because we was taking long because of, as you can see, the situations I was having.
You was pissed at that time. I remember seeing you and you was like, I'm pissed because this record had leaked.
I was,
but then you should have been happy then.
But
really?
Because somehow I just felt that even through the midst of what we was going through with the song, that it was gonna be all right. But I just wanted it to execute, and it wasn't the final mix as well. So now, I just remember like 5-6 texts like, you got a song with Chris Brown, you got a song, and I doomed. I'm like, oh my God, like this is mad, this leaked, rare. And then the next morning, you got to remember what was happening before was radio stations were saying they can't support me, period, anymore if I even go near the dude. But I just felt like, nah man, fuck that, the power of music. Like, whoa, let's go. When it leaked, like, the demand for it, like the song, the demand, like stations were playlisting it before a plugger was in the queue, like, hey, this is the new Chipmunk, do you know what I mean? So it was like, now I'm listening to the radio and consider everything that I've heard and learnt before when I decided, yeah, I'm gonna make that type of song for this and for that station XYZ. Now I've had this experience where I'm basically being told like, we won't fuck with you if you work with this human being. And I'm like, mad, this isn't what I got into music for. Like, this is mad. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what happens to like forgiveness and stuff like that? You get me? Yeah. But then it just went mad.
Did you speak to Chris personally at the time and say, this is what's happening?
Nope, there was none of that. We were just two artists that connected through a sick song. The first time we met was at the video shoot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And that was an experience as well.
What was that like? Was you on the same page or was it quite cold because you hadn't?
Nah,
was
it
just
was
business?
Good, man. I think like something about making a beautiful song with someone over the internet is that like when you get it done, like you both obviously you finished it, so you both have the feeling of the song. So when you meet, you're meeting on that energy. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, like we're here now. I'm in the middle of Miami in some deserted island, like.
So when Skepta came with you on that trip, was it that trip?
Yeah, Skepta came with me on that trip still.
So did you make a conscious decision to do, because you collaborated with Trey Songz, Kerry Hilson, Chris Brown, consecutively. Yeah. Was you like, listen, I need to make my mark in America? Did they reach out to you?
It wasn't I needed to make my mark in America. I more felt like I needed to make my mark kind of as like a young adult.
Okay.
And I felt that they were people that I know. Like someone said to me once, like, Chip, you know what, like, what's mad about you? It's like, yeah, the man them do music XYZ, but see when we buck like gal them and we talk to them, like they know we do music, they support us, they see we're doing our thing, but they don't actually bump our shit. Like an MC has said that to me before. Like you said, Chams.
Yeah.
And I feel see that album, that changed that. It was like, okay, raw, like them proper musicians that we run where panty will fly, whatever the course. Like, you know, it's like when Americans come to England, like respect me as a musician to a point where they're willing to work and do music for my singles. I think it helped the perception of, even though I've took stones for it, of me being able to do what I'm doing today, because something that I definitely would say is hard is growing up in front of everyone. Like, it's hard, bruv. Like, but that kind of just made it like a point of, even, you know, people just say like, rah, some people just walk in the room and they just got that demeanor about them, that aura about them. I feel there was a lot of people used to kind of like say that to me and about me, like, rah, man, like when you come in, it's just like, you're just like, there's something about you, like. But all them people were kind of people that, like, at the time had something about them. So it kind of just more solidified me as, you know, like, raw, he's got Starboy quality. Like, do you get what I mean? So that's why I did that at the time. And the sounds of the productions, I deliberately didn't use no rappers at the time. Literally just like choruses and XYZ. Because obviously hip hop as a culture is massive. And R&B kind of plays into it as well. But I just kind of saw a later stage where, okay, you've done this now. You know what I mean? I'm always thinking about just doing something different and trying. Like, you've done this now. Raw, okay, cool. Chris Brown, Kerry, Trey Songz, Vado, Rare. There were UK people on the album as well. We got Wretch. Then, like, I just felt like, raw, man, after this, like, what next? But I felt like, okay, now I've got the respect from, like, the, you know, the singers and rare. Like, now I want it from the rappers, and that's kind of how the Hustle Gang and that stuff
how did it
after.
work out with the label after that album? Because is that when your business with the label went into decline, or was it a while afterwards?
What happened with Sony was that no matter when you leave a label, someone's gonna say you got dropped. It's just the stigma that comes with leaving a label. Why I left Sony was because the amount of money that they were contracted to give me for the album after transition, they wanted to adjust on, because the album didn't sell as much as they wanted to or expected to, but the single had rocketed champion. So after all the experiences, and even knowing that people were looking at me like, right, I've done a song with Chris Brown because I'm signed to Sony, and knowing that they didn't have nothing to like do with the process of the record being made or even wanted to put it out, I just used it as a scapegoat to leave. Someone else, there's classic stories of this where someone else says like, all right, cool, boy, they're like, I want to give you 100 less, or I want to give you a 50 less. I was just like, my lawyer and my management. So basically, if they're changing what's on the papers, then I can go in it. So yeah, I just used it as a scapegoat to leave.
Was it a significant amount less, or was your pride in the way and like, listen, I don't want a penny less?
We didn't even get to the amount. Okay. To be honest, I was kind of feeling like I wanted to go anyway, because I was kind of starting to understand that things that people were perceiving as were happening because I was with a record label were actually happening because man was just solely hustling and just spending. Even when it comes to like some of the like videos, like every gal, we paid for that video. I was trying to ride for that to be the single, like, bruv, trust me, man. They're trying to hear no bashment. You get me? Like me and Movado. So
devastating. That was my favourite.
See what I'm saying? So these are the kind of battles that man was going through at the time, and I don't even wrong Sony, and I don't even hate labels. I just understand that it was all my ideas in my head that brought me to a point of you wanting to fuck with me anyway. What happens is you get involved with a record label, and I break it down like this, like it's like a separate world to the world you're used to in terms of releasing music. Everything changes, something's gotta get authorized. When it's like, yo, how music should be is like, yo, I wanna go today, I'm gone tomorrow. Like, I'm just in this country. Like the other day I was just in Toronto, just being a human being. Then I just made a link with a sick producer, Trey Mission, and I was just making bangers. But it doesn't work like that with labels, and you can't wrong them because it is their world. Like, you're stepping into their world with your music. Artists need to remember that everything that you did initially is what took you to them in the first place. So why not just start setting up patterns where it's like, okay, we really understand and respect that your brain and your mind and your bank and your time and your investment bring us to a point where we want to fuck with you anyway. So what we want to do is somehow get you involved with what we're doing over here, but still let you do that, because obviously that's working for you. Do you get what I mean? But it takes a few examples of trial and error and people going into deals, coming out of deals, having success, not having success, having different types of what people perceive as success before we can get to the kind of era where we can see today, where I can honestly say that I feel some of the people doing record deals now, in terms of if you go by, look what he done, are underachieving compared to what a me or a Tinchy or a so-and-so did. But then at the same time, maybe just how deals are done and what they're done for needs to adjust before the artists that you get to see are, like a lot of the men that are killing it right now, nothing to do with record labels. That's a frightening time in terms of what the music business is supposed to be. I feel that, just like how when I did my first deal with Sony, that was no heard of deal. My deal went 360. Everyone at the time was doing 360 deals. We went in with the hustle mentality, like, no, we're keeping this. We're gonna bust it down. It was unheard of at the time. Like, my deal weren't the same as everyone else's. I feel that, and more deals were done after me, because everyone wants an example of, oh, that's working for them, so we need one of them to do that.
This is why we ask a lot of questions, like, you see, like almost when I was saying, when we ask about, you know, what kind of numbers people are looking at, because sometimes people, if you don't know, and you don't go in with that hustler mentality, you don't, like, you're just a person, you've made a song, you've gone in the studio, you've made a song, you've walked into a label and they've said, okay, well, we're going to give you £50,000. You ain't never seen £50,000 before. Of course. You're thinking, wow, this is it. I've got a label.
To man, because I'm from ends, innit? I've seen man from block come up and do things beyond, like, 50 bags, that's just not money in my head, because I'm from North, where I've seen examples of man really come up and do amazing things in life, doing what they had to do to get to where they need to go. Do you get what I mean? But the only reason, like, I'm with you in terms of giving education. As you can see, I'm giving some now. But the only reason I'm not pro for giving out numbers...
You don't have to give specific numbers anyway.
It's just because I understand the type of background that I'm coming from. And that these men are coming from too. You know what I mean? So
that's cool. So listen, so after the Transition album, which, you know, was a great album, after that, it seemed a little bit that, because you had made such a transition, perfect words, because you had made such a transition, the public was like, whoa, what is this? Like, you had a few tats, you were smoking weed, the weed you hated once when you were 16.
Can I drop something in there?
Yeah, sure.
Like, did you feel like you needed to prove a point with that Transition album? Did you feel that a lot of people at that time forgot? Because you are one of the UK's best spitters, like, point blank. I mean, you've proved it every time. You get what I'm saying? But did you feel that people had forgotten around that album before you dropped the album? Was there a bit of a point to prove?
I think my spitting, you know what's mad? It's even sad to say it, and I'll just admit it. Like, my spitting ability wasn't really on my mind with that album. And if it was, it would have been a grime album. It would have been a grime album, because grime is how I learned how to write a bar. Like, if I be honest with myself, and that's even sad to say, because the only reason why I started doing music in the first place was so that I could ring one of the oldest from North London and spit a bar to them, and they say, you're cold, come to my yard, blood, I just need you around me. So at some point, wherever I lost that is sad, and that's what the music business does. But now I've got that back, so I'm doing every single thing I can to keep it. Do you get what I mean? But so that being said, don't get me wrong, I know there was some, in terms of, like, for me, there's bars on that album where it's like, I feel like delivery is a big part of how you digest someone's bars. But if you read the words, imagine if you just got a book with, like, the last verse from Pray For Me on the last song on the album written out, you'd be like, rotted, man. Like, my man's saying some shit. But a core fan that identifies with me, they don't remember me on these sonics or sounds. So that might stop them from digesting the level of bars that I'm putting out, because it's not their usual tempo they're used to or their usual sounds.
Obviously, there was a little bit of a turn. The turn started to turn a little bit. People were like...
That record.
You know, like, sometimes when somebody seems like they're winning and showing off that they're winning, and then it's like, tats, weed, oh shit, we might not like him necessarily right now. Then you go to, like, Hustle Gang with T.I. and that. What was that experience for you? What was that like for you, that?
I think I can honestly look back at myself and just say that, like I said, bear in mind, anything that I was doing in regards to, like, what I do with my money, I just didn't feel bad, because I know how I got that money. And now I'm a bit more older, a little wiser. I understand that, like, I've just reached a balance in myself where I understand that I could walk in here and Primark if I want and be a star boy, or I could put on something else and you might think, oh, what's that? But it's what did they say? The man make the clothes don't make the man. Do you get what I mean? But that feeling that I'd say disconnect, how it sat with me was just like, yo man, like I'm fortunate enough to have never done something different in my life. All I know is music. It's all gonna come, man. You're not just gonna just be flying straight the whole time. Do you know what I mean? There's gonna be times when you have to rethink, you know, recuperate, think, am I gonna take that Big Brother check or am I not? Or am I gonna take that I'm a celebrity check or am I not?
Were those things on offer at the time?
Yeah, them people that have offered me mad P.
Were you considering it at that time?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nah, I was just interested to know how much you'd actually really give me. Like, so we had like conversations like that.
With T.I.,
I didn't go. No, that's like Big
Big
Brother.
Brother,
I'm a celebrity.
Yeah,
Like, the T.I. situation came about for a brother called F.A., who now manages Parker, who produced Oopsie Daisy and also produced songs for Rihanna and also other songs that are mostly Oopsie Daisies, like the one that they, so yeah, that situation. But
Genius.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, Genius record, Genius. That song made me a Happy Meals toy. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. I think the T.I. situation, it was like I said, at the point with like Chris, Kerry, XYZ, where I was just like, yo, like a big part to me is like the rappers, do you know what I mean? So it was actually out of YMCMB or Hustle Gang that I was gonna go with at the time. And I went to meet Birdman and Slim, and I was meant to meet Wayne over at one show in Hammersmith Apollo. Then for whatever reasons I had to duck out. But yeah, I left the show. And I saw Birdman and Slim, but I didn't get to speak to Wayne. And then shortly after the time, you know, things started happening with FA, and he was like, I just feel like, I was in Atlanta one time, I think I went there for the BET Awards, and I was walking through and a guy came up to me. He's like, you Chimo, right? Yeah, kid from the UK, right? He's like, you're a fucking star, man. He's like, you're a star, man. I did this, I introduced Akon to Gaga and Rare. This is the kind of shit I do, I just Rare. And he was just like, I could see them. We started having, and it was around the times where I started feeling like, this Sony shit ain't all this cracked out to be. I don't hate labels, you know. I'd bust down if I had to right now. If I had to, I just don't need to. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, he was just like, T.I., and I thought, right, man. I was just thinking, life's mad. Criminal used to say, yeah, let him say something look like T.I., and I was just thinking, like, why me, bro? Like, this is mad. Like, but then, yeah, we flew out. Me and the team started talking, and we just decided, yeah, let's go for it, man. Something different.
So what, you dropped the London Boy mixtape?
mixtape.
Was that was on Grand Hustle? Yeah.
Yeah, that was on Grand Hustle, but you see, that whole situation, like, no, even how I left that situation was very abrupt. I kind of one day I just had an epiphany, like, blood clot, I need to go home. And it was like, I used to, I'd be in the mall, say like, and you know what's funny about that? Like, me and T.I., like, Iggy flew in on the same day. People always ask me, like, Rah, how do you feel about this one doing all this? And I'm just like, yo, man, for all the years when I was a kid doing some mad stuff that other people might have been watching me thinking, shit, man, I wish I could do that. I want to do that. Like, I'm not mad at letting God manifest whatever he has planned for me, because I know my talent ain't going nowhere. And I'm more focused now than I've ever been. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was like, we've landed now. I remember the first thing he said to me was like, oh, like, you think you can rap in an American accent? I was like, you get me. So we're just in. But obviously that whole situation was funded by me and Bath at the time. But like, when you're with a man, like, I'm in a new territory now, I'm in Atlanta. Like, it was just a completely different setting. But I thought, like, I want to understand. You know what I mean? It's like someone in the world can think whatever they want to think about grime, but unless you come here and walk around, like, put your 10 toes down with the people that are doing it, feel the experience. And that's what I wanted with the Hustle Gang situation. So I was like, we're living in Atlanta now. We've done like about a year and a half out there. We came back in between time. But yeah, I pulled off the London Boy project, and it, like, worked with T.I., Jeezy, Meek, few people, and it was just like, a point in my head in 2012, it was like, raw, as a grime MC, as someone that's done pop. And I did see all my stuff, but what was interesting to me at the time, and even from before when I was going to LA and working on my album and transition and stuff, was that when I'd get the time to bust down with people and play them my whole journey, it was, I'll just be honest with you, like, yeah, that Westwood freestyle, yeah, whether people could understand what I was saying or not, there was something about watching them when they watched that compared to watching them when they would watch something else that was just like, people just tell me like, yo, man, like, that's you, like,
energy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even know you could spit like that, for instance. Like, and more I used to hear a bit of that and that kind of brought me to the point where I'm at today. But yeah, we did the London Boy mixtape and I wanted to go home, so I just dropped it for free.
So how did that relationship end with Hustle Gang?
Not that. If I'm honest, under influences of someone that came into my career a little later, and not even I'm putting the blame on him. I'm a young man. I take full responsibility for myself. It was left very abrupt. I literally just, you know, in terms of how contracts work, just basically said like, this has happened now. It hasn't happened now. I'm going home. And one thing I respect T.I. for is not trying to hold me. Didn't try to hold me. Didn't try and do anything crazy. Just like, okay. And then we never really spoke since. But then, funny enough, obviously, F1 John, as you know, out in Atlanta right now, doing some time with Young Thug. He's bucked T.I., innit? And Tit was like, yo, man, yeah, told Chip, give me a shout. And I said to him, yeah, like, as a young man in charge of my own shit now, like, you're definitely someone that I would, like, want to sit down and have a conversation with and just chops up, just as men, not even necessarily to do business. But
what would you think what would you say the main thing that you learned from that camp was?
Hustle Gang.
Yeah.
It's a family business.
Is that what's inspired you to kind of bring your family closer to you and bring them around you?
Yeah, man, like T.I. and also just learning what family is. I feel just coming from the ethnic minorities in general and growing up in the ends and stuff, like, there's a lot of different ideas as to what family is. This is going to sound so funny, like times when I used to think, oh, my parents don't know nothing, man. You don't know about music. You never done it, like, whatever. Like, no. Your family is your family. Like, literally, like, obviously, like, blood makes you related, loyalty makes you family, whatever. But, like, yo, between, like, all of us in here, like, your mum, your dad, your cousins, your god sisters, god brothers, like, they are the people that your prime focus should be on. Like, no matter what you're doing, no matter how gone you think you are, no matter how finessing you think you are, what car you got, what chain you got, whatever, rare, like, they are the people that your prime focus should be on. Thank me later.
Alright, cool. So work with me here, right? I'm working with the Tide, yeah? And the Tide is going to bring us to
We're getting in
today.
right now, though. Yeah. We're getting in.
Cool. So obviously, like I said before, I'm a student of the game. I observe stuff. So I've seen people kind of not really feeling you, and then you kind of took some time out. Obviously, you were going through personal stuff at the time, as we've already spoke about before. And then obviously one day I was chilling and I saw the chip fire in the booth come up. Now, before we go into why that came about, I want to see whether you understand why the reaction was like that when the fire in the booth came out. Now, as a spectator.
Now or then?
Then. So, like,
I didn't understand.
Which fire in the booth are you
I'm talking about the first one where we was talking about Tiny. For me as a spectator, like, if you went onto a fire in the booth and you just rapped and this Tiny in like 4 bars or whatever and kept it stepping, I feel like everyone would have been like, yo, my man just sent for da-da-da-da-da. But obviously, because we don't really know how passionate you are about whatever the issue is, it came across, and especially because it was a year afterwards, it was like, what's going on here? And this was before me and you had any sort of relationship, so I'm just keeping it real. I thought, bro, like, what's going on here? Like, why didn't you just spit and cut out? And then probably we would have had like the maddest, you know what I mean? So, do you understand that opinion?
Solidly.
Yeah, you understand that?
Yeah, completely.
All right, cool. So now I'm going to call a spade another spade, right? Now, obviously, like...
But are you going to touch on that that big subject
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
say
of
your
course.
piece, or
Yeah,
not
yeah,
let me
yeah.
say mine?
Well,
Alright,
go on,
just
say your
check.
piece. Go and say your piece on that.
Just I agree with what you said in terms of like, now I understand why that was digested the way it was. At the time, I didn't understand, but one thing I did understand, that there's a platform for spitting. Why are you talking? Other than that, yeah.
What was it that made you make that decision? Like, today's going to be the day, a year later.
I'm going in. Oh, with his one a year later.
Yeah.
That one at the time, I just didn't have the things together that I wanted to have together at a point where I was putting out music. I wasn't even really putting out music like that. And the 6 months later one with, dude from the 016 was literally just, I couldn't believe, like, even like the propelling for like rated awards and stuff like that. Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like,
Why
at
he
the
was
time.
nominated?
At the time, wait,
Yeah.
let me finish. So like I'm saying, so I left that one for a little while. But as I'm saying, that situation has stemmed from someone that I've never seen in my life. And the level of negativity that was thrown at me, like, I just feel like maybe because I'm strong enough, like, I can take the stones of people thinking, why did you do that? That was this, that was that. But only I know the real effects of everything that's happening because I'm the artist in my size 8s. You get me? So at a point where it's like, yo, someone can throw that much negativity at me that I've never met in my whole entire life, never seen. Like, I couldn't wake up and send for someone or wake up and want to take from someone that I've never seen, met, nothing. You get what I mean? Like, I'm just not that kind of human.
So is that what happened?
So at a point where that has happened, there was a point in me that said, okay, if everyone that in what I considered the music industry can get behind this, like it's the best thing since sliced bread, because it's disrespecting me, then when I'm ready, I'm going to come back, even if they don't acknowledge what's happening, just for like man-to-man disrespect balance, life disrespect for everyone that's gone near me, because it's like, bro, I feel like with people that I've considered were real friends, like, over this thing, you know. So when I decided that I was coming back, like, I'm sorry to Chams, I'm sorry to whoever felt like, right, he's too savage, but bruh.
Don't apologise to me. I just had,
mad,
obviously,
like,
this is how I felt, and this is how
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
as a person. So I have to address it with you because we're having an honest conversation.
So obviously, the second chapter of your kind of war stage, I would feel, was with Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was an MC that kind of came out of Manchester and started to kind of dish you on radio and stuff like that, and making songs about you. And they started taking off, his audience grew. I remember being at the Royal Albert Hall. I think it was like a orchestra thing with Rich.
That was the show I felt the difference.
And I was there, and basically what happened was...
That was the day.
I came there late, and what happened was every time a new artist would come out that Rich would bring on, the crowd would make some noise or whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, when you came on as an artist, not a lot of people made any noise.
Yeah.
That I could see. I personally, honestly, in telling you the truth, like, I'm a fan of, like, I don't actually personally like it when everybody turns against one person. Do you understand?
I'm in the hot seat.
That's what my character's like. So on that day, I personally got up, and then I realized, and I asked somebody in the crowd, I said, "Raw, what? Has Chipmunk already been on?" Because I was late. I thought that's why they didn't go crazy, because you'd already been on. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. But you hadn't already been on. And for me, I didn't know that you felt that was the change for you. But for me, I thought that was the time when I thought, wow. Like, this is bad.
It was, you know what, yeah? To be honest, yeah, that day, remember I said earlier in the interview, there was a point where I was at a show and I said I felt the difference, yeah? It was that day. Like, there's artists there that will watch this and now know that I heard what they were saying about me. But, you know, things come out in time. And I remember just looking at everyone and thinking, like, at the time when a dude first popped up, yeah, and was on me, I'm a spitter from 10 years ago, so I know lyrics for lyrics who's a problem for me and who's not really in terms of what beats, bars, go is supposed to do and represent. So, but when I made The End, for instance, I worded it in a way that might need me to come back later, you know, once, because I thought, and the hardest thing is, it's like, raw, you lot gotta remember, yeah, when these MCs are coming to war me, yeah, they've got 10 years of a career to pick at, to look at, to scrutinize. We did here, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'm not negative enough to like try and get, depending on how dirty you go with me, like try and get personal dirt on someone. So at a point when I realized, yeah, and I can say this, that show was part of the feeling. The first time like I've been on stage and I thought like, I'll tell you the whole story because this is mad funny, like the course of learning and understanding this new thing going on. Like, I could actually feel the difference. Like, bro, like, it was like everyone knows who I am, but they're just looking at me. Like, and I was like, bro, this is mad weird. Like, and I had to remember that, like, why I talk about, like, the agents and stuff like that, yeah, is because, bro, just like, for instance, not necessarily every person who bought Oopsie Daisy is a fan of Chipmunk. Like, programming is real. Like, if you go to Spain for 5 years, you might learn how to speak Spanish, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, I was forced to leave there and think, like, rah, why? Because I know ability for ability. Like, not one person on this lineup thinks they're a bad boy for me. Like, in terms of, like, have you got the sauce? You get me? But, rah, the people just ain't really feeling man here. Like, this is mad. So, like, I had to realize, yeah, that, like, even down to like certain agents, yeah, like these people have been, this is a BBC One Extra show, Radio 1 show. These people are being programmed not to like me. Like, they're getting spins on spins on spins as of someone that literally has a career just off disrespecting me. Like, if I was, it could be any MC in the world. Pick a cold MC. You lot pick a cold MC right now.
Gets.
Boom. Gets. If Gets has to go against someone, props to Gets, cause fuck radio, you already know, bro. Half these guys trying to come at me right now. If they was there back in the day, they would have got left back in the day. We're in a new time, we gotta adjust, we gotta adapt. I'm trying. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying like, raw, hold on. So take Gets for instance, bruv. If you take a whack MC, yeah, let me not say whack even, because if you can put rhymes together, you're not whack. But I mean like, when I say whack, I mean like, do I think these guys could have survived in fuck radio? No. Like, I don't, because the ability of being able to just non-stop go is something that unless you was from them eras, you don't really know how it feels. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's a completely different art form from being able to go studio and upload on the blood clot net before anyone can tell you you're coding your ends or not. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So, like, take Gets, like you said, Gets, like, make an MC get the push, forget their ability that you've seen everyone propel behind dude. Just solely going against Gets, yeah? Whether Gets is cold or not, this is MC, and at the same time, even though it's a new era where MC is uploading on the internet, it's grime. Grime's built off if that MC steps out of line, you check him. And if you're better than him, they leave with you. It's built off that. After the amount of time that I left it of just being disrespected and not opening my mouth, you will feel a difference. That was the day I felt the difference. And you
so
get
that was
me,
the reason
like,
then.
I felt the difference, like, raw, man. Like, okay, so, because I'm not a youth that, like, I've accepted where programming's work for me. Like, these are the same buildings and people that have done things to work in my favor. Like, now they're doing things to work against me. Like, you're going to have to wake up here and break something down, Chip. Like, install the fear of what could happen if, like, you're on me and I'm on you. So that was the day, and I remember, yeah, it was like, when he first came, like, I'm not negative. Like I said, I don't know nothing about this guy. And a big part of why I think what he done was a success, yeah, in terms of what people consider successful, yeah, was because he came to Tottenham High Road. Tottenham is an area that has been badder than me for years. Years and years and years on end. And be careful what you say on the microphone out loud now in regards to that situation, because the depths of the belly of the beast I'm talking about, yeah, I wouldn't want it on your life, or your life. Like, to take a substantial amount of man and go to a high road that is predominant. Like, this is the area that started the riots, bruv. Do you know what that means, fam? Do you know what that means? In a time where, like, okay, everyone's crying now about people getting shot by police, which is a serious thing. I'm saying it like it's nothing, but it's not nothing. These are things that are happening in reality in the kind of environment where I grew up. Like, I know Clasford and Colonel. I played football on Broadwater Farm. I know MPK. I MC'd in the Hub for years. I know Tottenham High Road. I got stuck up there. Like, to take... No matter how cold your bars were, yeah? You made everybody in the hood phone ring like, raw. There's actually someone from out of town that thinks they're bad enough to do that. Like, this is, like I said, like, when I won a Mobo and cars were bibbing on Tottenham High Road, rare, they weren't bibbing me because I'm a gunman. They was bibbing me because I'm a cold MC. What you've done is you've took MCing to the high road. But the high road is about badness. So it put me in a predicament. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, rah, you forced me to be a voice of... Not that I'm not a voice of my community. I can't help it. Like, I'm from North London and I've done good things and bad things. I'm living my life, but I'm one of the people that was first from, you know, this place to achieve some things, to make young people think they have a place in the music business. Tottenham's a bad place. Like, do you know what I mean? Beautiful things come from Tottenham, but it's a rough environment. You get what I'm saying? So at the point when he did that, it was like, okay, cool. Everyone's phone's ringing. Right, like, who's Rare? Who's he? Why can he do that? Who's he know? Rare. So, but why I let him run was kind of because, like I said, I'm not that negative one where I'm going to get on the phone and think, right, who can I rare to get information and rare. As you can see, every single clap I've done towards him has been based on the lyrics he said to me that I have to counteract with more passion to, you know, let people know that I still have it in me to do what I could do when I was 15 or 16, except now it's on the internet. Or 14, do you get what I'm saying? So I feel that was a very big part, man. I definitely think that if he stood in his bits and did that, it wouldn't have had necessarily the view impact that was had at the time. And why I didn't want to conversate after that was because the conversation that I had on the phone with him, I've spoke to the guy once. I've never seen him, but we've spoke once. And when I heard his tune and he was like, you try mind manipulate and I thought, rah, oh my God, because you don't know me, you actually think I'm a negative guy, but you're the guy that can wake up and just diss someone that you've never met, don't know, you know what I mean? Just for a chance to go at what you're doing. And some people are like that, some people are not. But when that happened, I'm saying, like, after the conversation we had, and he said, boy, you know, I'm going to do one more, and, you know, because and I thought, all right, yeah, just do your thing, but I'm not going to say nothing after that, Carl. Like, I'm not entertaining this all day long. But he was like, when we had the chat on the phone, he was like, rah, man, you've worked with Chris Brown and rare. Like, you're not even meant to care about someone like me. I'm saying, blood, fuck that. Like, as men, if you disrespect me, I'm disrespecting you. Like, you went on one of the biggest platforms in England, like Radio 1, and just chose to disrespect me. I don't even know you, blood. Like, from you do that, like, you're forcing me to do what I have to do in it. So from here, whatever you do, rare. And like I said, lyric for lyric, you already know I'm calm. Starting your video on Tottenham High Road, that was some shit. Like, I can't even lie, bruv. Like, props to you, you're in there, innit? Like, do your thing. Do I have the energy in me to hate someone that I've never met? Nope. I'm just not like that as a human being. Like, imagine, Posty, can you hate someone you've never met? The internet can't have that kind of hold over me. It's literally something that's popped up on the internet that I have to deal with on the internet. I'll break down for you from, you know, my point. I've seen no interviews where they asked him and he just looks like he's wishy-washing about it, but now I'm speaking, yeah, it's like, boom. I did the 96 bars of revenge and I said, if you're going to nominate Young and big up, some of your best newcomers ain't new. If you're going to nominate Young and big up and nominate Sneebo too. Because I don't feel that he is a newcomer at the point where they were nominating him for newcomer. And I do feel that if you're going to acknowledge his achievements at that point, acknowledge Sneebo's too, because the song is 50-50 theirs and Sneebo also has bangers on his own. And that's just how I felt. And I think it's fair to say that is the truth, because I gave them Go Down South many years prior to that Mobo nomination. And Go Down South is definitely a song that resonated with the people, definitely a song that saw them onto the A-list on Eagle Radio, like One Extra. So forgive me for thinking that you're not a newcomer at that point, but I think some people might agree with me.
That's fair enough.
Yay or nay? All right, cool. I'm going to break down the whole thing. No, you get what I'm saying? So as I'm saying, because you don't need to know this shit, we here with NFTR right now, you get me? So at that point there, yeah, okay, cool. I do understand that when I spit, it's so passionate, so it can, you know, so Lil Clive wants to talk to you, so I'm like, fuck about what, man? Like, it's the truth, innit? So rare, took my number, rare, on the phone. He's like, oh, why did you say that? I'm like, what do you mean, why did I say that, bruv? Like, it's true. Like I said on the phone, like, when did I give you Go Down South? That was like, what, 2011? Like, he's like, yeah, man, but everyone knows I'm not a newcomer like that, but you're putting spotlight on it, and obviously that's things. And I said, bruv, forgive me if the truth doesn't work for you, but it's working for me right now. You know them ones, like, I said big up, and I said clearly on the song, if I named you, I rate you. I'm not dissing you, because I know how the internet works. This is a generation of trolling. So I broke it down to him saying, right, man, but you didn't have to do that. I'm saying, you know what? All right, I didn't have to do it, but it's done now. And are you going to disagree with me right now and say that you're a newcomer, so you should be up for that? And he said, no. So I said, so what's your fucking problem, bruv? Like, why are you even ringing me? Like, you know them ones? Like, furthermore, like, you should be happy that I'm saying Sneak Bro should get nominated too. Like, you know them ones? So we've had that conversation, and he was like, but, you know, what if, like, I took it the wrong way, and then he agreed with me on the phone that he's not a newcomer. So from there, you shouldn't have no problem with the lyric, because that's what I said. And then he said, but what if I just, like, lashed out and went studio and said, I said, then you know what would fucking happen to you, bruv. So cut the rubbish. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm not telling you I've got a problem with you, so if you want to go down that route, you know what time it will be. So that was the end of that. So obviously at the time, I was, if you weigh up what 96 bars of revenge was, I'm dealing with, you know, Dude and Charlie and things that I'm weighing. Like, the thing with what I'm going through is the MCs are the faces of people I'm really up against. Like, the public don't really know about these people in places that be keeping me out of certain places of why I'm doing what I'm doing directly to the people and running with this cash model energy. Who's fucking with us? We ain't robbed no one in the process of doing what we're doing, stole from no one. Good guys, good vibe, good energy. Who's with us? Roll. That's what I'm on. So anyway, like, so next thing I've heard, yeah, was his one take where he's said, like, all of a sudden, you're a guy that's apparently from South, yeah, and you're bigging up people from Manchester. And I'm thinking, you know how spitting works. Like, why are you doing that? And then, like, Bookie, like, who else has a song out called Bookie? So I'm thinking, all right, you're trying to flirt. Like, we're really getting that, cause, like, man will twine you, bro. Like, this thing's separate, you know what I mean? And you're on one take, like, which is a grime beat. You didn't big up Gets and Rookie. I'm just thinking, yeah, there's no manners in your situation or something. Let me see where you're going with this. So, like, I've spoke to, obviously, at that point, I don't think I spoke to anyone. I spoke to Krept and Conan either whether it was at one take or after that by Comfy, like, for instance, yeah. Then I've heard that one, and I'm saying, all right, cool, you're not quite, you know what I'm saying, but you're hinting. And this is after you've already done bare tunes that I've done, like, anything, Into remix, I do one, you do one. Pepper Rhythm, I've done one, you want to do one. It's like, you're just on my tail, bro. Like, so I'm saying, like, all right, cool, let me see if you're really going for this now. But then, the next thing I've heard is the Comfy tune. And he said, like, man, want to chat about my nomination, like, I don't deserve it. Like, and the only person that spoke about your nomination is me. But the way you're saying, like, so, but if you recall, like, how I am with bars, you know that that's something that I'm gonna deal with. You know them ones, like, because you're addressing me, so I'm gonna address you, like. So then, he's gone, yeah, so man, want to chat about my nomination, remember? So I'm like, okay, cool. That's what you're on. Then, like, I'm thinking, but I've spoke to you already. Like, I spoke to you and I told you what would happen if you go down this road. So he's tweeted some, like, he's paged Krept or Conan, like, what's Chip's number? And then they've hit me like, can Young get your number? I was like, no. Like, or ring Young, and they sent me the thing, his number. I'm like, I'm not fucking ringing him, blood. Like, come on, man. Like, you don't know what time it is now. Like, for instance, like, what do you want to talk about? I spoke to you on the phone already. You know them ones. So the next thing I did was my one take. And in my one take, all I did was address the bars, yeah, that he spat on his tune about the nomination. Say my name, you chicken. You said if I named you, I rate you. And about things to do with the tune you put out, like Margellas and 4/4s, like, specific to the words that you're pointing in my direction. One, I know you're not a gunman, so I just don't know what's with all this 4/4 in the 4-door chat. And then from there, like I said, I just know then he's done the tune, and then obviously he's got Big Homie to come and give him the certified stamp. That backfired. Michelle Rhythm's a banger. The last 8 bars are legendary. Then, like, he's coming on songs and he's saying, like, no, this, identify a liar when you hear one. No more tunes after this one. It's just licks. I did not say any of that with my mouth. We all understand now that I've seen this guy. I didn't get licked up. So, at some point, just be yourself, bro. You know the ones that you've said that, no more talking after this one, it's just straight licks. And then furthermore, you've done another tune after that. So for me, like I said on the L rhythm, like for me it was over because you said already like you're not gonna do no more tunes, but here you are doing tunes. And then yeah, I saw him, and for whatever the reasons that he can, like I said, on his song he made out that he badded me up, and I know that that is, everyone in Visions that night knows that that is completely not the case. I'm not even in this for a gangster stripe. I made Oopsie Daisy, like for instance, you know what I mean? Like I don't portray like I'm this guy, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You do. You saw me for whatever the reasons that you will explain later. You didn't punch me up like you said you're going to. And then further.
So what happened? Did you talk about it?
What happened that night?
Yeah, did you talk? Did you talk?
Yeah, like we spoke, innit? But you gotta remember, yeah, like he said no talking, he's gonna bang me in my face. Like, or after rare. So at that point, who's telling the truth and who's not? Like, I'm here, no one hit me.
I feel like, I'll be honest, there's not many MCs that, and in fact, I don't know if there is, yeah, there's a couple, but that could take on 3 different sources at one time. And I feel that's what you did, yeah?
Yeah, love.
And I feel like Tiny, when I think about that back and forth, I feel like, I look at it and I just feel 2 powers going up against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the Bugsy situation. Like, I didn't pay much attention to that. But this Youngin situation, like, I'll be honest, I've been impressed by the lyrical ability, yeah?
I appreciate that. I think Perry really helped display that.
But
I took advantage
you know
of
what
the
I feel with this
situation.
situation, out of all the rest, I feel like, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, I feel like, when I look at that one, I feel like, right, that's just 2 brothers tearing each other down. Do you get what I mean? I'm not, I think with you,
I feel you.
Like you're at, and I'm sure Youngin won't take offense to this, but you're at a different stage.
In my career.
You've achieved more than he has, yeah? Cool. In the past, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? But at the moment, I just look at you.
I've just, are you saying that one day your accolades don't matter if you're later on? No, I've achieved more than him, and that's that.
So no one's offended though, and you got to understand my position.
Sometimes accept when someone's achieved more than you.
Okay, all right.
Confirmed.
But I just feel like you two,
done numbers.
You're on, like he's obviously on a new path. You're on a new path, yeah? You're on a new path. You've done certain things and you're clearly
on a new path. Are you saying that he should allow that I've got a 4-4 in a 4-door path? I'm going to punch up Chip.
That one.
Are you saying he should allow that?
I'm saying he should. I think that one should
because ain't no one just touching
dead.
me and that's the end of that.
I think that one should be dead. Because I feel like, I look at, that's the only one now, not even before, when it first started, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, like...
But now I just feel like, I just look at it and I feel like, right, these men are just tearing each other down.
Yeah, I feel you. And you know what, to be honest, I'll be completely honest with you. From the way I've explained the situation happened, and like I said, I'm trying my best to put it at a point where he doesn't represent what Krept and Conan do. For instance, like, I'm trying to like keep like, because I'm not, bruv, there's no point clashing Youngin. I know he's not better than me, but you know what it is, yeah? At a point when you've held a public embarrassment about the, obviously the Nando situation, like, man overstand all them things. Like, all you lost was chicken and chips, fam. I've been beat up, battered, robbed. Do you know what I mean? Like, real life things that I'm not afraid to talk about. So hopefully the people coming up in the music thing can learn from. You know them ones? It's like, okay, so cool, this has happened. So now you want to take the... I just think doing that song, firstly, anyway, like the away games joint was a bad business move. Very bad. Very, very bad. One, because everyone can see what happened. One. And 2, like, you're coming back, like, talking about, I circled back with the gang, this, that, the other. It's like, for what? Like, what? Your chicken and chips? Like, you didn't lose a rollie, a big P, something that represents the whole gang. It's like, yo, you was loosing, you're on your own. If you've been through real life role situations, you know how to handle a situation like that. Better, I watched you lot's NFTR. You don't know if there was 10 people. You rare, but you do know he was by himself. If strangers want to talk to you, what do you want to stop and talk for? Like, I've been through situations like that, so I understand. It's like, okay, you're this guy from this area. You're in Uxbridge, nothing to do with your bits. You're young, you're doing music. You have a reason to get up tomorrow morning before most average youths coming from ethnic minorities do. So they're gonna see you and they're gonna wanna test you. I wasn't talking tough, I wasn't talking cruddy, I was getting tested all the time. Things I've been through, I don't wish on no artist. I am trying to encourage people to be themselves, because let's be real, if it was flipping Ellie Goulding, that flipping, or I don't know, someone that is just doesn't talk about stuff like that, or just anyone from the, you know what I mean, that happened to, maybe you wouldn't be finding humor in it, because you're not expecting you to live up. I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of artists right now. Like, you're being almost forced to live up to the image that you're portraying of yourself. But real brothers that are really from the curb and real mud. But London's a small town. We know who's really, really bout it and who's really, really not. You know what I mean? So it's just like, bruv, just be yourself. And like I said, the only thing that made me do that spontaneous and that quick with that Peri Peri rhythm was because I know, one, just like everyone else knows, that was in... The only people you might speak to that might tell you a different version of accounts is anyone that is solely affiliated to him. And I just know that no matter what version of accounts you get, I'm not the one that said I'm going to hit anyone. So I'm not the one that's meant to be dishing out the licks for whatever the reason. And I didn't apologise. So, but yeah, nothing happened to me.
So obviously that happened, and then that started to cross over, and then like there was a conversation between you and Crept, I believe. So what was that phone call like? I think that's what everybody wants to know.
We had a long conversation where, like I said, I don't want to speak out too much about me and Crep's private conversation, because it was in private for a reason. Unless we both got to sit down here, as you know, I'm Chipmunk, that's Crept, and when I speak to Crept, I know it represents for Crept and Conan. I can't say it represents for Crept, Conan and Young'un. So unless me and Crept got to sit down here and say the things that we went through about in that conversation. But long story short, he's been winding me up. I've been winding him up. But other than that, it's cool.
All right.
But is this squashed? Is this something that you lot are going to get over? You lot have made music together.
Yeah.
Which I guess...
I'm always cool. I'm just forced to a point where I have to be ready for whatever. And this is MC, and you know, it's like sometimes people say slick shit. Like I heard a little funny line on a tune today. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like, that side of things, it's a pinch of salt for me. It comes with the sport. It only gets personal where I feel like you've actually really like been close enough to hurt me. Do you know what I mean? Other than that, it's just bars.
What do you think it is? Because there has been a lot of challenges about the likability of you. I think that and that has been happening for a long time, and I think a lot of people don't, probably today, they've probably been able to see a different side of you. I think
I've come to the conclusion that I'm not here to be liked, and that's made people like me more. I'm not here to be liked. I'm really not. I think sometimes when you're called on a mission, when you're called on a mission, like everyone's on their own individual mission with God. I don't expect everyone to understand the things that I have to do to get to, like I've got a destination. I ain't even got a destination. Like I'm just young, positive, and enjoying music. And sometimes I get forced to do things that I might not even necessarily want to do. Like, I can honestly tell you, at a point in life, I did not want to do all of this. That's why I didn't for ages. But at some point, I realized the course and the calling that I was called for, and what I have to do and what I have to manifest in order to go to the places that I want to go, where people are going to see me have moments again where they can say like what they perceive as success. I know this thing's been lit the whole time that I'm traveling. No, don't get me wrong. I've had times where it's been, you know, been hard maintaining XYZ ABC, but that's real life. Like any person that's, you know, 30 plus or rare that has had an experience of money and understands money and the concept of it. You have runs, you wait, you go, you invest, you time shit. It's like I'm my own business on legs. I still haven't ever had a job, and you still haven't seen me in Big Brother, or I'm a celebrity for 250 to 100 or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So I'm very sure about who I am as a human being today, and I just feel that something that happened after the first fire in the booth I done, that I remember Skepta told me, he said, you're going to have people run from you and you're going to have people run into you. And because that was just too real, bro. It was just like, the passion is just like, it was mad. That was just a madness, you know what I mean?
You didn't plan to say what you said, did you?
Not at all. It was just coming out, bro. Because that's how, you hold that in for a year with a spitter that you know can't test you on the mic to save his Balenciagas or Margielas or whatever they are. Like, if these spitters had to come here and put their Margielas on the table and take me out to keep them, I'd be taking the Margielas home. But
when you left the building, when you left the building, did you regret that? talking about it?
No, I was just, bruv, listen, yeah, I swear down. Only after what I realised what they used my opinion to do, I thought, fucking hell, Star, this thing is mad. Whenever I come back, I better make sure I come back strong enough and ready enough to go against the people that helped bring me here. In terms of, you know, bruv, just like you, Viz. Man's been at that blood clot building before somebody. I was at that building when it was the old building. Man's been shelling since Yolding House. Like, bruv, man, go back, cuz, like, you, man, know me, like, from when you lot all used to have the pictures in the thing when you first walk in. Like, you can't front on me. Like, I know the heads. I know I know it from... I know it, innit? Like, do you know what I mean? So it was just sad to me at a point that I realised that at some point I'm going to have to stay strong and go against what people consider the grain. But I just knew that I was making... And a part of me always thinks that, you know, there's an MC out there today that doesn't have my ability to just switch it up and do what they like, when they like, and do that to get to there or that to get to there. That might just be able to just spit. Like, don't know what a chorus is, just knows what beats and bars is. I just wanted to show them that just that alone is all you need to change your life. And I've changed my life again from just doing that. I can honestly tell you that.
We obviously, Stormzy right now, for me personally, I think he's leading.
Yeah. I'm done.
Like, was he, I know there was a mix-up between you, him and Tiny. Was he someone that ran towards you or away from you? The answer to that seems obvious because of the rap versus grime thing that you've done.
Yeah. One thing I can say about Stormzy, yeah, in all honesty, he is the definition of... Some people stay impartial for political reasons. I think he stays impartial, honestly, because that's what God's told him to do. I genuinely believe that, brother, yeah? And after all the things I've been through, yeah, how he has handled situations. Like, I fell out with little youths that I put on because I'm from an old school code. Like, I come up around a lot of old school man. Like, you know Viz, you know them ones, like... And there's just certain ways you go about certain things that don't really register with the... It's just like a generation difference, you know what I mean? But I came up with around old school, man, but I'm the generation of the new 90s babies that everyone's seeing now. So it was like, yo, man, there's just a point where it's like how you go about... It's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know what I mean? So Stormzy, for instance, like, people like working with people that are dissing me or plugging them while they're dissing me, it's like, we all know what that does, man. And I know that we all know what that does because from how Stormzy's dealt with me throughout it all. Like, anytime there's been something that has been done that he felt that could misrepresent him in the wrong way, he's reached out to me and said, Chip, boom, this is... And I'm not telling... And props to him, he's not telling me because he's a bitch or because he's telling me because he's a real brother, bruv. You know them ones? Like, I don't look at him like he's any less of a man or rare. Even if he didn't tell me, I wouldn't have a problem like that because we didn't actually grow up together. You know them ones? I've been fortunate enough to meet someone through music that I feel has a very godly energy about them that I would hope that, you know, we don't change that. Do you get what I mean? And how he's dealt with every single situation that has come up where it looks like that could misrepresent what his angle is. Like, I solely respect it so much. And why, for instance, talent aside, like, I would scream for Stormzy anywhere I go because I definitely feel like he is a representation of the young black ethnic minority in England that can change their life without using a chorus.
Has that all been ironed out, you and Charlie?
Shit, man, things are ironed out until you wear them again and then creases come back and it might need ironing again.
There's no turning back for you.
That makes sense.
There's no turning.
I'm cool, but I have to stay alert. Like, the things I've been through, like, I have to stay alert.
Circumstances make people who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there one person that you can say throughout your journey has rid with you throughout? Because there's a lot of negative stories here, but yeah.
Janae, Ashley, Mario.
Artist-wise.
Because you're throwing names out, and I know that they know that you appreciate them, but...
It's mad because I think the audience know who these people are because you've mentioned them
mentioned
so many times. Yeah,
it's that time now.
So
like,
people go,
my family's coming for this business.
Yeah,
I didn't go into it and learn all them things and take all the stones I've took to not come through and make sure that my people are going to eat right out of this bitch that tried to pimp me. Like, nah, bro. Like, I'm coming for this. Like, me and my ones, like we will, like we're sure.
But aside from that, in industry wise, is there anyone that you can say has supported you, like that you feel that they've supported you throughout?
Yeah.
That they've had an unwavering support for you
From day one.
And I'm talking about artists behind the scenes, DJs.
You know
labels.
what? Of all of this, and from what I know, like it's a small game. If someone chat shit about you, you'll know. And one person that I have to take my hat off to today and say, you know what? Thank you, yeah. Because no matter what happened, you kept it 100 with me the whole time. Some people have actually kept it 100 the whole time because they were just like, you see the part that the streets play in this music thing. Let's be real, it's playing a part right now, you know, more than ever. Like, bro, you could pop up anywhere and just be on your crud and cool your guanin, you get me? The part the streets play, yeah, play an influence on like how you perceive people. One person that I can say definitely has an understanding of the streets and, you know, how it works and the part it plays in the music business, that I could definitely say, you know, as an MC that you're seeing today, you know, still, you know, flexing, making tunes and rare is Frisco. All respects due to Frisco, man. Like, he introduced me to the Always Recordings lot. He had a foot in with Wiley and that. Even at times where I've just been gone and didn't even like realize like he was one of my guardian angels in this thing. I never ever got back to me that he was saying bad stuff like, them man, if you know what I mean, like just a 100 brother, man. I'd definitely say Frisco in terms of me. And next one, and why he's in the room right now, I'd say Sincere. Lizzie, like we go, like my dad was his flipping football trainer, like primary school days, like
shout out to him.
But like, even like I said, I get examples, and that's a brother that does business with people that don't necessarily work with me. But you, like I said, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like I'm a businessman, like I understand business, like I get it, you know them ones. But at the same time, there's ways you go about things where if you have that real love for someone, and there's ways you go about it if you don't. And I've just come to realize that maybe some people didn't, you know, love me as much as I.
And what about like journalists, radio? Like there must be some people who have like from early, like they've supported your music and they've just not stopped. You could release a track that they don't care about and they'd still release it. They still play it because. But
I'm the kind of guy, you ask any DJ that you know that you might have considered friends with me, yeah, I've never rang them once and asked them to play something. Like if I make it and you don't organically feel it, I don't want you fucking playing it. Like I don't want anything that's not organic. Like, I've been through situations with award shows where I've known how people are winning them ain't organic. I don't want nothing if it's not organic. Like if no one feels like, okay, you can see the hours that Chipmunk's putting in, you can see the music he's putting out, we want to see him do some more, we want to see him at this show, we want to see them people stop trying to block him, like then I don't want it, bruv. Like I'm smart enough to go into something else. Like I want people to feel I deserve what's coming for me, and I feel that's why I was successful before.
You mentioned before something.
Sorry, he cut you, not me, Sam.
You know,
yeah.
I was at the end of the road. There.
Oh, cool.
Go on.
No, I said I was at the end.
Oh, you was at the end. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you mentioned something about the Rated Awards, which is coming up soon.
I love Posty.
P.O.
Bucks, baby.
It just happens to be coming up soon.
Posty's
You mentioned
killing it,
before
man,
in relation to the Bugsy Malone situation.
Yeah.
You said something about Rated Awards in relation to him. What was
clear it up.
Yeah.
Basically, when I realised that this is someone that I don't know or know anything about, I'm going to have to leave it a while and let him say, if you look at it like a month is a step, I decided I was going to give him 6 steps before I ran in and out his feet. Like, that was confirmed before any song you heard. Like, I was coming to do it. Bruv. And I felt, you was at that show, so and you felt it. So I wasn't the only person that felt it. Ashley felt it. People felt it. You know the ones like, I'm coming to run in and out his feet. Like, any move you make, anything you say, I'm going to twine it up. Like, anything. Like, non-stop till you tap out. Like, I'm dedicating my life to this. Like, I know, like, I felt the difference and music is my life. So, what it was with the Rated Awards, like I said, remember I said I was going to give him 6 months? The Rated Awards was at the point of 5. And I thought, raw kid, man can pop up and just this man and be up for awards in 5 months. Like, I'm not from that era, but at that point there, where, and this is why I talk about the agents and things that happen, yeah? Like, that big up whoever the girl was that screamed, "Thank Chipmunk." I heard about that. Like, I thought that's pretty cool. Like, it was 5 months gone, you get me, blood? So I thought, like I said, at the point where it was up for an award, I couldn't knock it. Like, I understand how these things work. Statistics, like, you charted, woody-woo. Like, whether the music's going to be around in 10 years from now, that's another story. But I understand the way the things in the industry work, that boxes have to get ticked for someone to be at somewhere. I understood it from that angle, but I still did just think, like, nah, man, this ain't enough work, man. This guy just... It's literally just who's behind him. Like, I'm not stupid, bruv. You know them ones. So... But I understand the position it puts people in business-wise. But when that happened at 5 months, I thought, oh, no, I can't leave this for 6. The Mobos is around the corner. I'm sending man in there looking crazy. Like, some fan is just going to think, like, you're getting your hair because you blasted my man. Like, let's not delude that. So at a point where I blast you back, and if it, you know what I mean, it should restore some balance, and I feel it definitely did.
This lady know the Rated Awards is 100% authentic. It really is. Mother's life.
So can you vote for the show? Corny, I know, but you got to while we're here. Yeah.
That's the thing, you know, we can't win.
Bare people, you know, bare people
associated.
been asking me about that, you know.
What are they saying?
The Rated Awards.
What are they saying?
No, are you gonna go?
Oh shit.
Oh, are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Let's not discuss this here. 'Cause
Hey.
we haven't even spoken about it.
Hey, but I can say openly that I fuck with that shit. I support that shit proper.
No,
Let's talk music, man. Let's talk music.
Yeah, let's talk Power Up.
Yeah.
I feel like you're taking this
Right,
mixtape.
you know, all of that, we didn't even mention Power Up once. Hopefully they get that this is, you know, get towards helping you understand the mind frame behind the guy that's putting
That's
some
what
music
we
out at
needed.
midnight.
That's
Yes.
what we needed.
Yes.
You've had Rap versus Grime, Believe and Achieve.
Yeah.
Now Power Up. What can we expect? I want an album. You know what? Because your albums have been so different, I want to know what the
What you put
third
together.
one is going to
Yes,
be like.
bruv.
But let's talk Power
I
Up.
think about that.
And there's been, you know, for me, Skepta's got a sick album out. Konnichiwa, I think classic, caught a moment in grime that no one will ever forget. And I think you hear the power of his album when he performs it live, sick. And a lot of people dropping albums this year, 50 gigs.
Oh yeah, thanks for the speech on that one, bro. You done know powers, yes.
So, oh yeah, of course, yeah. On his interview, he mentioned you. So we'll talk about that album.
Yeah.
Coming the third album, but Power Up, what can we expect?
Power Up, obviously the course of having my own company, my own label, started like at the beginning of the process with Believe and Achieve. Under new management now, but shout out to Ash. But yeah, it's just I'm not ready to do an album. Not in terms of like I ain't got it musically in me, but now Power Up's coming now. I wanted to do like in the process of I just wanted to feel how it feels to enjoy music again. And at a point that I remembered enjoying music the most was when I was just doing it on my own, just my own ideas, my little paper route money, and getting my jewel cases and printing CDs and going to my internet cafe and first asking them like, how much is a black CD? So how much for 500? And they're like, well, what do you want with those? Like, do you sell the cases? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it when it was like that. So it's more about applying the theories of doing it like that to knowing what I know now about the business. So leading back to Power Up, after a couple EPs, a free tape, and seeing the way my music's been touching different people from traveling so much as well. Like when I travel Toronto, you name it, Trinidad, Dubai, people actually stop me in the streets and really want to speak to me about bars that I know weren't pushed by radio or what people would consider the UK music business over here. So the example I wanted to lead by in my own ways, I know I am. So with Power Up, I just wanted to do a project that reminds me, for myself and my brethrens, all the musical angles that I have in me that I could choose to explore if I want to when I'm ready to make my third album. It
does sound like, you know, hearing you more of late that you're enjoying yourself, and hopefully when you apply that to something of an album, it's going to resonate also. I think that you've picked up your fan base again. Because they're enjoying the authenticity that's coming from you and the fact that they can feel that you like it.
I appreciate that because I'm definitely enjoying it. Like,
when
that's why I'm here now. You know?
When Wiley was here, we kind of had a discussion about grime classics, which didn't quite go in the direction that I assumed it was going to go. But I feel like you're in a position where kind of you could possibly make a grime classic with your third album, because I feel like you're probably in the best shape of your life as an MC.
Sick.
Yeah, because you know when you was younger, you was always good,
But yeah, I'm aware now.
but now you're
stuff.
like really good. Put it that way. Do you
Thank
know what I
you.
mean? And you could possibly make a classic with the third album. Is this something that you want to achieve? Have a grime classic album? Is it something in your sights that you want to leave behind?
A grime classic album. I think, you know what's funny, yeah? I've definitely had them thoughts, yeah. But do you know what's funny about that? As much as I'm from the era of MCs that kind of came through, just like the last ones of the MCs that you would consider and producers of people that made the grime scene, to make a grime classic album, I would say almost arguably that it can't be a classic without having certain people involved. And they might not necessarily want me to have that album.
What classic albums do you think they've been?
UK. Shit, man. I think years have to go by before you consider something a classic. So the only one that I would say is a classic. Nah, man, I don't even want the man them pre me like that, man. Like, I don't even want them pre me like that.
NFTR, sorry, bro, man. We need to know what you regard as
You've talked up way more
classic album.
Classic album.
Yeah.
While he's open this conversation, so
Yeah, he was getting ham, fam. I was watching him. There's no way around it. Boy in the Corner is definitely like a classic album. I think something that but then like one, it has to be considered an album for everyone to I consider, you know, I'd rather talk about classic projects, man, because I feel like
what classic projects are there?
I think flipping Boy in the Corner is a classic project. I think, like, let's take away the title of albums, because someone will argue that Power Up's an EP, but I'm just like, Sharp is a project. Like, I think Boy in the Corner is a classic project. I think Craig David Born to Do It is a classic project. I think Hard Bodied is a classic project. And I always gauge things by, like, if I'm just on the ends or outside the barber shop, like, what do I hear when people are driving past? Do you know what I mean? Fuck what they're telling me is the shit, or what won awards, or, you know what I mean? Like, there was no denying that, like, Black, White, Pink or Blue, when Boy in the Corner was going on, using that. There was no denying that when Hard Bodied was out, like, everyone and their mother and son, no matter what hood, was forced to check out what's really going on here. That's two. I think Kano Home Sweet Home is a classic project. I get why Wiley would argue that stuff he was arguing, but I definitely feel that that was a classic project as well, because I think Kano's the first of a spitter like that. Do you know what I mean? So you have to give credit where due to, you know, how people choose to articulate themselves on the mic. I would say that for me, especially like at the time, in terms of Hard Body is a classic project, yes, but in terms of UK gangster rap at the time, coming from the area I'm coming from, when Realer the Most Young Spray was out, there wasn't a car that wasn't beating those songs. In the end, that was a classic like gangster rap project for me. I think don't want to say none of my projects, but if I had to pick one, League on My Own was definitely a moment where people from my generation could see what you could do from having a project from someone from their generation, because that bring us Fire a Lie, Who Are You, like I Am the Grime Scene Savior came from that project. I didn't understand then, but I understand now. I think I've, you know, played a fair part in the shit that's happening. I think Skepta Microphone Champion was bananas, bro. What am I talking about? Sorry. Community Payback was my one. Like,
oh, the one with Who Kid? Yeah, dirty.
Bruv.
Yeah.
Safe. I think I think just in general, Boy Better Know and the movement have done classic shit. Point blank, period.
Do you feel
I think they are the two points of how I found myself as a spitter. The two examples of either wanting to get the reload or wanting everyone to hear you word for word, coming up and having, you know, the examples of like both kind of help me find a balance as an MC.
Do you feel like there's pressure on your
And there's more classics, but they're the ones that come to my head first.
Yeah, Gets has got projects.
Yeah, Ghetto Gospel was done. Ghetto Gospel was done. I got them all. I got a shoebox full of everyone that was in Uptown Records, Devlin, Tales of the Crypt, like bare things.
Yeah,
like
that was,
you got to remember, I go back, Bashy, Chopper Chops. Like I remember all these things. Like I was really like out here, like handing in my project and buying everyone else's. You know what I mean? I think Bashy definitely represented a different type of spitter at the time when he come out. Like ain't nobody was wearing yellow and sucking lollipops. Like you showed people you could be yourself and still drop bangers.
Do you think that
J2K as well?
Obviously,
freestyle in the dressing gown was crazy. Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Like obviously, like just in conversation, you mentioned that you think League of Your Own out of your projects is probably your best. In your
I never
opinion.
said my best. I said the classic.
Oh, classic. In your opinion, obviously, you probably feel the same way as me, as in that you're in the best shape of your life as an MC. So you're probably thinking, or I'm wondering whether you're thinking whether it is a bit pressure releasing the third album just because you kind of, like, if I was in your shoes, for example, I'd want to display some of my finest work to date with that album just because of what I've been through.
Yeah. I feel like the music that I've put out consistently over the past 18 months from traveling, I know that I need to take that around the world and push it in other territories in the process of making my album. And if, depending on how that goes, I can't tell you when this album is going to come, but I can definitely tell you that it's on my mind now, and I definitely enjoy all music. I'm definitely an artist. I wouldn't say I'm just an MC. I would say I'm an artist, but I'd definitely say that I've had my slices of humble pie. And in terms of life, spitting, I ain't trying to humble down because that's not what spitting's about. But in terms of like my next album, I would just want to be able to just make sure that when I walk up to Chams, Viz or Posty, that it represents me as a human being before anyone thinks this song is meant to do that or that song's meant to do that. And in the process of all the music, I understand, I definitely know that as me, you know, my age and the things I've done and the era of music that I come from and represent, I definitely have a responsibility to represent for the culture of MCing. Do you know what I mean? So they're the things that I'm going to consider when I'm making my next album.
All right, bro. I want to say, I think like this is the reason why we started Not For The Radio, to talk to people that have got journeys like yourself.
Love.
So I want to say thank you for your time.
How long have we been going for?
Thank you for challenging us. Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
Thank you for dropping gems.
And what can people expect? Like, what can they expect to hear from your project? Like, it's coming out at midnight.
Yeah.
Sell it.
And thanks for that, man, because I'm just here going wayward, just like, it's been so overdue. But Power Up, it's not the most tracks. It's short, sustainable listen. But I think just say I don't want to say expect anything because expectations is just a mad thing. But I just hope you genuinely enjoy it. I hope whoever's been following from way back, thank you. If you've just started following now, I appreciate you just the same. And I'm just been on a course to try and, however it's come across to you guys is another thing, but just trying to better myself as a human being, first and foremost, because everything that you've seen happen have come from the course of me deciding to do that. You know what I mean? Like, how can I work on myself as a human, first and foremost, before music? And that's what's led me to doing more music, regardless of how people have took the messages that I'm coming with, that God's telling me to blur out my Ross Clark Matt. Do you get what I mean? So I just hope that, everyone can, digest it as like, rah, man, like, that's a good brother. Like, I'm rocking with him, first and foremost. And then, like, I feel like style that's a jam, you know what I mean? There's jams on there, you get me? So just jam to it, man. You get me? If you're with your brethren, your people, just put on what Chip sounds like, feels like. Bond with me as a 25-year-old with Power Up in summer 16.
Right.
I keep God close.
Say, that's a
and
mad
your
interview.
Family. your family and God first and foremost. Everything else secondary. NFTR for life. Man, and keep going
A
in.
few records there. Longest one, most demanded.
It's mental.
There you go.
I've interviewed you on every platform I've been on, but that's been by far the best one still.
I'm not gonna lie,
I've been a part.
it was fun to do.
Respect.
And more NFTRs to the world. Till next time.
#NFTR.